Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start today with a question that really stopped me in my tracks when I was reading through the source material.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those questions. It sounds simple, but, well, the more you sit with it, the more uncomfortable it gets.
Okay, let's hear it.
Here it is. Does the world ask you, who are you? Or does it actually ask, what can you show?
Wow. Yeah, that's a profound distinction, isn't it?
It is.
We all kind of walk around with this assumption that we're valued for our essence, our character,
Yeah,
our internal reality.
right. Who we are?
But the source material we're diving into today argues that the modern world doesn't really care about your existence. It only cares about your exhibition.
It's not about who you are. It's about the show you can put on.
Exactly.
And that really sets the stage for a unique deep dive.
Yeah.
We're looking at a set of documents that outline this very specific, almost countercultural philosophy.
Right, we've got the script, spectacle, and silence, which lays the groundwork.
And then on the other hand, there's this incredibly strict master rulebook for a content format they call quiet after noise.
And I think we need to set expectations here for the listener. This is not a business guide.
Not at all.
It's not a how to be an influencer checklist. In fact, it's explicitly the opposite. It's a philosophy of
It's a
anti-performing.
manual on how to disappear from the circus,
Yeah, how to disappear while still, existing in the world.
which just feels completely counterintuitive. I mean, look at us. We're podcasters.
Right.
We're conditioned to think about engagement, reach, optimizing, all of it. And here's a text saying, stop, be quiet.
Look inside.
Exactly. So our mission today is to explore that tension, the tension between the circus, this noisy world we live in, and the
Yeah.
quiet, which this text argues is where reality actually lives.
It's a tension everyone feels, I think, even if they don't have the language for it. That sort of low-level anxiety of performing versus just being.
So let's start with that core metaphor. The spectacle and silence script says the world is a circus, and it asks, in a circus, who's the winner? Who gets the most applause?
And, your first thought might be the ringmaster or the person with the most death-defying skill.
Sure.
But the script identifies the central character, the winner, as the Joker.
The Joker. Which is interesting because we usually think of a Joker as a fool, someone not to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But here, the Joker is the winner. Why?
This is where it gets really sharp. The Joker doesn't win because he speaks the truth
No.
or because he has some deep wisdom. He wins simply because he understands the assignment,
We did.
entertainment. The text literally says the Joker wins because he dances.
So it's not about merit. It's about watchability.
Precisely. And then the script sort of turns it on us, on the audience. It says the crowd craves the show.
We don't want the burden of deep thought.
No, we want the costume, the noise, the distraction. So the person who puts on the makeup and makes the noise, the Joker, is the one who gets seen.
That is a brutal reality check. Because if visibility rewards noise,
Mhm.
then what happens to the person who's actually thinking?
They stay silent. And in the economy of a circus, silence means you're invisible. You're effectively bankrupt. The thinker is left behind, not because they're wrong, but because they're boring to the crowd.
It's like a direct critique of the whole social media ecosystem, but without ever saying the word.
The algorithm of the circus.
Yeah. But let's play devil's advocate. Is visibility the only thing that matters? The script pivots here to talk about the people who aren't in the spotlight. It brings up hard work.
Yes, but it strips away all the romance we usually attach to the grind. We love to glorify the hustle.
Oh, absolutely.
But this text focuses on the sound of hard work, or I should say the lack of it.
That part really stuck with me. It mentions blisters on hands. It says blisters don't make a sound.
Mhm.
They don't get you in a parade. You don't get a round of applause for just being exhausted every day.
It's such a grounding observation. We see the finish line, the medal, the big exit, but we don't see the years of grinding it out in the dark.
Daily exhaustion doesn't make headlines.
No, it doesn't. And this creates this whole class of people living in the background. The script calls them the pillars.
The ones carrying the actual burden.
Mm.
In a company, in a family.
Yeah, they're on stage dancing like the Joker. And the tragedy, according to the source, is that these people are only remembered when they finally collapse.
You only notice the pillar when the roof starts caving in.
That is such a heavy image, isn't it?
It is.
It's only when they get too tired, when the quiet fails, that the circus even pauses to look. And usually the crowd isn't sympathetic. They're just annoyed the show got interrupted.
So this completely redefines winning. In the circus, winning is applause. But this philosophy says if you're actually doing the work, if you're being good, being right, you're not going to win in that sense.
Because those are quiet virtues.
And that is a really hard pill to swallow. We want to believe that if we're good, we'll be celebrated. This text just says, no, you'll likely be ignored. And you have to find a way to be okay with that.
Which requires a huge shift in mindset. And that leads us perfectly to the second document.
A master rule book.
Yeah, this isn't just a philosophy. There's a practice, a very specific one.
And I found this rule book fascinating because it is so incredibly restrictive.
It's the anti-TED Talk guide.
It really is. It's designed to force the creator into that quiet state. I want to go through some of these rules because they just fly in the face of everything we're taught about communication.
Okay.
First, the anti-guru stance. The rule book explicitly forbids teaching, preaching, or motivating.
Think about that for a second. No motivating. That's like 90% of the internet.
I know, but think about the intention. It forbids advice giving. You can't say you should. You can't use marketing language. It demands the speaker just be a human thinking aloud.
And that distinction is so important because you should implies a hierarchy. It's I know something you don't.
Right, listen to me.
This philosophy wants to destroy that pedestal. It says, I'm not above you. I'm struggling with this thought right now with you. It demands a tone of slow, honest uncertainty.
Uncertainty is the key word.
Mhm.
When was the last time you heard a creator just pause
Oh,
or admit, you know what, I don't know?
it's rare. We're trained to project confidence even when we're faking it. We edit out the stumbles. This says the silence is part of the thought.
But the most radical part for me is the forbidden words list. This is where it gets really sharp. I'm going to read some. You can't use research, studies, neuroscience, statistics, or experts say.
Which is, I mean, we think of those as the gold standard of truth. We use them on this show.
All the time. Studies show I'm right. So why strip them away? Is it anti-science?
I don't think so. I think it's anti-authority. The rulebook argues we use science or data as a shield. We hide behind the citations so we don't have to be vulnerable.
Ah,
If I say neuroscience says, I'm shutting down the conversation. I'm saying the facts are on my side. You have to agree.
so it's about removing the armor.
Exactly. The rulebook says, if a thought needs a vague authority to feel valid, then the thought itself isn't strong enough.
Wow.
It demands that your ideas stand on common sense and lived observation alone.
That is a terrifyingly high bar.
Yeah.
You can't hide. You have to say, this is what I see in my life. Does this make sense to you?
It forces an incredible amount of vulnerability. It changes the dynamic from, I am the expert teaching you, to, I'm a person just like you, and here is what I am seeing.
It levels the playing field.
It completely removes the power dynamic. It's stripping away the noise of authority to get to the quiet truth of experience.
It reminds me of the rule about references. You can't just say ancient wisdom says. You have to give the exact book and verse with no interpretation.
Yeah, you can't borrow the authority. You can only point to the source. It keeps the conversation human.
Okay, so we have this structure. No guru, no authority, just honest observation. Let's apply that back to the themes in the script. We talked about the circus. Let's talk about comfort.
Ah, yes.
The script makes a bold claim. It calls comfort the biggest religion of the modern world.
That's a massive statement, bigger than any actual faith.
Well, if you look at how we live, the script argues people do the bare minimum, just enough to get by, not because they're lazy, but because standing up for something real is uncomfortable.
Truth is risky. Truth causes friction.
And if your main goal in life is comfort, you will avoid truth at all costs.
It's just easier to go along with the show, to clap for the Joker, than to stop the music and say, hey, wait a minute.
Right. And this connects to what the source calls the algorithm of goodness. We touched on this, but the text explicitly says that good people are rarely on the front page.
Because the front page belongs to the loud, the extreme, the controversial.
And goodness just isn't algorithm friendly.
Think about it. Goodness is usually stable. It's quiet. It doesn't scream. Algorithms crave engagement, which comes from outrage or spectacle. So being good almost means, by definition, being invisible to the algorithm.
Goodness survives quietly, and it tires quietly. That line, it just creates such a vivid picture.
It does. Decent people just keeping the world running while all the chaos trends online. And that leads to the inevitable result.
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
But it's a specific kind. Mental exhaustion. It's not just tiredness from a long day.
It's the exhaustion of why even bother?
Right. It's exhaustion of cognitive dissonance.
Right.
The gap between what you see being rewarded and what you know should be true.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the Joker getting the applause and the worker getting blisters day after day, something breaks.
You stop aspiring.
Yeah. And this is where the script offers a really different take on defeat. We think of defeat as this big, dramatic, I give up moment.
Right.
But the text says at a certain point, a person doesn't scream, I lost. They just quietly say, maybe that was all there was.
Maybe that was all there was.
Yeah.
It's resignation, but also a strange kind of acceptance.
Exactly. It's realizing the limits of the game. It's not a dramatic defeat. It's a quiet realization that the return on investment for your soul just isn't there. Not in the circus.
It sounds depressing at first, like giving up hope.
It does, but the script flips it. This is the pivot. If the world is a circus, and you're tired of the noise, and the game is rigged for the Joker, the ultimate power move isn't to scream louder.
It's not to fight the Joker for the mic.
No.
It's to leave the tent.
It's to walk away.
And the key insight here is about how you leave. The text talks about leaving without needing to be missed.
And that's the liberation, isn't it? The ego wants to slam the door and have everyone ask, where are you going?
We want our absence to be felt.
But this philosophy says if you've built a habit of living without noise, you don't need the validation of a goodbye. You just slip away.
It's almost a superpower. The ability to be okay with being irrelevant to the circus.
Precisely. The script ends on this realization. You don't need to answer everything. We feel this pressure to have an opinion on every headline, every controversy, but the text says it's enough to just recognize, this is not my place.
This is not my place. That is such a useful mantra. I don't have to be part of this show. I don't need to have a take.
And that brings us right back to the rulebook. Why is the format so quiet? Because it's modeling that behavior. It's creating a small space of anti-circus.
It's showing that you can exist and think and speak without performing.
And without acting. You know, the rulebook's instruction about emotional discipline, no crying tones, no dramatic silences for effect.
It wants to strip away all the manipulation.
All the performative vulnerability. We're so used to that now, people crying on camera for likes. Be steady, be present, be human, just tell the truth.
It really challenges the listener then, because if the content isn't trying to entertain you or sell you something, you have to actually engage with the thought itself.
And that's the hardest thing to do. It requires you to sit with the silence.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what does this all mean for us? We're not all going to start making this kind of content. We still live in the circus. How do we apply this?
I think it's a call to recognize the difference between the noise of the world and the quiet validity of your own experience. We're always looking for external validation, for experts to tell us how to live.
We want the citations. We want the data.
Right. But this philosophy invites us to just trust our own observation, to strip away the need for applause and ask, am I doing this because it's true, or am I doing it because it performs well?
That's the question. Am I the Joker seeking applause, or am I willing to be the quiet worker in the background even if nobody sees?
And realizing that there is dignity in that silence. The script isn't saying the circus is wrong. The circus will always exist.
It's just saying you don't have to live in the ring.
Exactly. You can choose the quiet.
It's a lot to think about. It's rare to find a topic that asks us to do less, to say less.
But sometimes doing less is the most radical thing you can do.
So here's my question to you, the listener, as we close out. We talked about the circus and the quiet. Where in your life are you performing? Where are you putting on the makeup and doing the dance? And where are you quietly carrying the weight?
And are you okay with that weight never being applauded? Can you find peace in the fact that you know you carried it, even if your name is never in the headline?
That's the challenge. Maybe the ultimate rebellion in a loud world isn't shouting louder. Maybe it's just engaging in a quiet inner monologue, trusting your own common sense, and accepting that your lived experience, your blisters, your fatigue, your truth is authority enough.
You don't need a study to prove you're alive.
Well said. Thanks for diving in with us. This was a quiet one, but a deep one.